Okay, we are now in the session number 6, the third of the second day of the training. We had started in the previous session with the metering module. Now we can go again to show you something about the metering module. I have added in this metering two other measurements. We had the home from the beginning, so we have values and consumptions that we are now taking, current hour, current day, or whatever, and values for example, for the last hour. We have some value accounted here. So you can see that the system is calculating very well how many kilowatts per hour you are consuming every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, continuously. So you can also establish limits. So these limits is for you to take information from these thresholds, from these warnings. So this is information that is manually configured from your side, and you get, if you get this instead of false in the true value, you can trigger alarms, you could give some advice by Telegram, by email, or whatever. So it's very interesting because it's very flexible for you to get this information. And of course, we can also have a graphical information. The peaks is also interesting, minimum and maximum values for the different periods of time, yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. It's a lot of information only for a few time of configuration. So it's very nice to have all these items in one go. I have added, as I mentioned, another value, so we can also take a look on what is the consumption for example, for the autotherm. So we are also getting information from this consuming. This is in red color because we have to fix it. This is manual done, so we can of course put some values. Imagine that I'm putting this value, so you are getting information about this very easy way, so it's not complicated. Some reference for the consumption every year or whatever. So we can trigger alarms if these values are exceeding these limits, but it's a custom values that you have to put inside. So this is a very easy way to do this. This metering module is an option for you. It's not included in the BMS by default, but it's also with the same price as the lamps or many other modules. So it's a small amount of money for the module and some fixed amount of data points per meter. In this case, it's 10 data points per meter, but you get a lot of information if you are configuring 3 meters. It's only 30 data points, but you get all this information and all the possibilities to also create graphics, trendings, reports, and all these things. So it's very, very interesting. So I will go back to the web manager. So let me select this again and show you the web manager. I log in again. So we're here. I show you the trendings that I configured before. So I have, sorry, the trendings are in the metering. The aerotherm, I configured this a few minutes ago, so we don't have a lot of information, but something this is consuming. But as I mentioned, the trending is not representing the hourly consumption, the daily consumption, because we don't have more than one graphic that is going up or remaining with the same value when this is stopping. This is well, the car is full, so it's not consuming any energy, and the home is also a line that is going up, so it's useless to see this information as it is. So this is just the value of the meter, but we need to analyze this. So this is what we get with the metering module. The metering module, the app for the metering module is a different one. So you, as you have seen before, we have to configure. Okay, this is the project tree, and we go here to the configuration. Yeah, in the metering is where we have a resource, we have also the price of the resource, and we have the meter points. So when you take a look on any meter point, for example, the aerotherm, you can define here, and you can see the consumption. And here is when we can select the meter reading, as we saw, or the consumption. And you can, when you select the consumption, is when you see the graphic with the consumption per hour. So last hour was 1.7 kilowatts per hour. Now we're consuming 0.8. This is the very interesting part, because you can also select the week, for example, and you will see the daily. This is the sum, the addition of all these values, all these hourly values. You can select also the month, so you will see the same value for one day. So when you have this tool, it's really fantastic, because you have analyzed hour by hour the energy consuming, with the only need to define 1 meter, 1 data point for this module. So it is fantastic. You can, of course, get this information in table form. You can show this in the visualization. You can export this as a graphic, as a table, in many different formats. But this is really, really interesting. So you can take a look on this element one by one. For example, imagine that I want also to see the home. Sorry, the home element again with consumption. So you get here that I am consuming a bit more, 2.5 and 0.9, because the rest of the house is also consuming something. I can also see this in aggregation, but it's not different because it's 1 data per hour, so it's the same result. You can see in weekly, 3.4 in this case, or even yearly. So you see the month consumption. When you select the year, it's a month. When you select the month, it's daily basis. When you select the week, it's also daily basis. You can select also last week information. We don't have any, but you can also come to today's information. Okay, so you can see this. You can changing, of course, the color anytime. So it's really fantastic way to see how is the evolution of this energy consumption. Not only related to electricity, it could be also gas consumption, fuel consumption, and water consumption. Depends on your device that meters that. So it's a question of the field devices that you have for measure all these consumptions. But the consumption is not the power, is not the current, it's not the voltage, it's not the power factor, it's the consumption, the kilowatts per hour. It's not kilowatts, it's not amperes, it's not voltage. This is very important, because sometimes we have a bit confusion between what is the power and what is the energy. So if you use, for example, the trending that I used before in the test as a power, for example, this is not the right decision. This is not for the energy. The energy is a result of the power, but this a different calculation, and it is different measurement. So don't use power, use energy consumption. If you don't have that, you need a measure, or you need an estimation. You can use the LAMPS module to estimate that, okay? So this is not the way. This is just a graphic to see the evolution of the power consumption in your house. That's okay, but it's not the right information to use in your metering module. This one is the right one. It is not useful in this case as a graphic, because it's always going up or standing, but for us it's the data we need. So we need to historize this data in order to see the consumption. Okay, so it's very important. So this is for the configuration. You can see the graphics, okay, but we are interested also in configuring a cost center. So what is a cost center? A cost center is very important. In the cost center, we have our project, so we can assign costs to the project. So we have different things here to see. So metering. So we have our, for example, our calculation charts. So we can see some information here. about meters. We can compare energy measurements, okay? But in the cost center is where we can see our consumptions itself. So we have to go here and assign to the cost center all these elements. So how to do this? Okay, we have the cost center here. So we just drag and drop and assign in percentage how much of the home energy we have to assign to this cost center. Okay, 100%, 100%. Maybe the aerotherm also. It's not right because the aerotherm is part of the home energy, but it's just an example, as you may imagine. That's aerotherm is included in home, so we don't have to pay double for this, but it's just an example for you to understand. So we have now my cost center, and the question is to see this as a chart. So we can try to take a look of my cost center in the calculation chart. So you can see dragging and dropping the consumption or the cost, okay? The consumption, the resource, and we can add new series. So you can take a look on what are you spending in your cost center here. And so you can also only take a look of, for example, in the aerotherm. So maybe it's interesting to add this series and compare, and even home. So you have both, and you have the comparison for all this. So it's fantastic if you want to compare the aerotherm with the other consumption, the home, and the whole cost center as an addition of all this. So it's really interesting, this concept of the cost center. Of course, you can also visualize this. You can also create a report with this. You can export as a table or whatever. So it's really interesting way to do this kind of calculations. And the concept is interesting. And if you want to see the cost in money, just again, replace the series, telling we are interested in the costs. So you can see here the value of the costs every day. So you can also change this. It's in form of a line, but okay. It's interesting to include these errors. So that's it. So you have information of the evolution of the cost every day. Of course, you can change it to weekly value or wherever. So you have a estimation of the costs also in the energy. If you select month or year, you will see the monthly cost of your energy consumption and so on. And you are dynamically, you are able to see this dynamically. So you can also compare consumption with cost at the same time in the same graphic or whatever. So this is very interesting, and it's very easy to configure, and you can create different calculation charts, etc. So it's a module that is also very common in the projects, including the lamps, and the metering is very common in the projects because it's very useful for many buildings to have all these estimations and calculations, etc. So that was the last part of the previous session. So now we have to continue with the hotel management and with the Doorlock systems integration in the PMS. So, and we have to deal about the GRMS. That is a new app that we have from some months ago. Very interesting because, and now it's improved. We will talk about GRMS in 2 different sessions now and tomorrow, maybe with some part if it's not enough today. But the very interesting thing is to see the visualization also, the visualization part. So we will continue with this example until the end of the training, because it's very interesting for you to realize how easy and how powerful it is to have in a hotel, for example, a GRMS solution. But first, I will introduce you the Fidelio module and the Kaba, Salto, and VingCard modules also. So let's go back to the PMS, because it's these additional modules are interesting in hotel projects. And also, I mentioned before in the last session, and in the first one, something about the multi-protocol server. There is a light version of the BMS platform that is called the multi-protocol server, and all the things that we have seen in the 3 first sessions yesterday are related to the BMS platform. Of course, it's one of the biggest functionalities is the integration of data points from different systems. But this is also done or can be done with a multi-protocol server. The multi-protocol server is not possible to have lamps or metering module. It's not possible to have web manager, and will not have also visualization. But it's possible to include lamps. It's possible to include Fidelio or Kaba, Salto, VingCard, the Doorlock systems in the multi-protocol server. So it's one thing that we are going to explain now. In this way, we have to go to integrate Fidelio. If you have a Fidelio driver in your or Fidelio system in your hotel, so let's go again to the web knowledge base. This is only Fidelio driver, Fidelio module, sorry. This is only if in the hotel you have Fidelio installed. Fidelio is Oracle PMS or property management system that you have to include in the BMS. If you want to integrate the information coming from Fidelio and integrate it with the room systems. For example, if some room start or is checking, somebody is entering the room or is accessing to the hotel and the room is checking, then you can interact with the systems in your room, changing the temperature or preparing the room for the guest with the TV scene or with the lighting or whatever, with the air conditioning. So it's very interesting to integrate this information from this property management system to the room, because it will save a lot of money and energy, and it will be very interesting that integration from the point of view of the user experience, from the point of view of the guest, and from the hotel manager, because it will be much more efficient in terms of management, in terms of energy savings. So it's really interesting to do this integration. And it's very, very common to have the integration. If you have automation in the hotels, it's more and more required that we need integration from these room systems into the hotel management systems. So we can do it using commercial solutions like Fidelio or Infor or Protel or all these solutions, Char, etc. But it's also possible without these solutions, as we will see with the GRMS system. So then I will start explaining about how to do this with Fidelio, but it's very, very simple for us, because from the BMS point of view, we just need to have the Fidelio Opera driver. Okay, we have a driver configuration that is no complicated, but because normally we don't touch nothing, we touch only the IP of the server, if maximum. So imagine that we have this IP, for example, for the server of Fidelio, but it's something that somebody has to tell you or you have to ask what is the Fidelio. I will not restart now. And the other thing to do is just create a table with your rooms. So nothing more than this. What is the room number? 0101. What is the building name? This is the Netex Hotel. Floor name. And a description, for example. So you get all this information from Fidelio. Even if you don't want to indicate the floor, it's okay, because the room is also including the name of the floor, as we have explained. So just copy paste, and we just create very easy for one floor, and the other in Excel also possible, of course. And that's it. We just have to save and restart. So we will get all this information in the Fidelio driver. And there is a lot of information that is very interesting for us. But moreover, there are 3 or 4 things interesting. The check-in, check-out information, that is just a Boolean, true or false, check-in, true, false, check-out. The language of the guest, because, and you will see this is fantastic, we can have different visualizations, or better said, we can have different language in the visualization depending on this value. So, and this is automatically done. So we'll change. In English, room is room. In Spanish is habitación. In German is Zimmer. So this text can change depending on the nationality, on the language of the guest. So this is really interesting. Okay. So what happened is that I have now a new driver, that is the Fidelio driver. It's not connected because I don't have exactly that driver. Okay, thank you. I have my rooms here, and for every room I have a lot of information that it's possibly coming from Fidelio. For example, the room checked, I mentioned, the guest language, and the guest name, for example. These 3 things are very interesting. Of course, the arrival and the departure date are also interesting for us. But this is automatically created by the PMS, only defining this. So it's very, very simple thing to do from our point of view. But of course, we need a Fidelio driver at the other side, because if not, we are not going to get information. This is only red item. I cannot interact with this. The only thing I can change, and this is very interesting, is the room status, for example. The room status is also readable and writable. And this is very interesting because if you have the do not disturb at the makeup room, for example, items, you can change that status. Imagine that you don't want to clean, to be disturbed to clean the room. So you select the option do not disturb. And the system, after you press the button, the system is writing a value here, for example, value 5. And the room status now is do not disturb. And the system then, when the room is clean, the responsible for the cleaning says the room is clean, so the status now is 6. So this is automatically coming to the Fidelio and showing you what is the status, the real status of the room. So you can have a report automatically created with the status of the floor number one, or the rooms in the third floor or wherever, so you can manage better your hotel. So this is also interaction with all these items. It's automatically created by the PMS. Only doing these definitions is very simple. So this is the Fidelio driver that can have interactions with the room. So when you have a room checked, when this value becomes to true, you can create a scenario. Maybe you can remember example I showed you before about the conditional events. So it's easy for you to think about this. So if this value is true, then do this and that and that. So put the lighting in that status, or just trigger a scene. This scene is changing lighting, heating, or cooling systems and shutter position or whatever. And when the value is false, go to the basics scene. That is when the room is not occupied, it's saving energy and the shutters are closed or whatever. So it is very simple thing to do when you have the information coming from the property management system, from the Fidelio or Opera or Protel or whatever PMS system that you may have. So this is Fidelio driver, but we will see how we can do this without Fidelio also, with the GRMS system, because we can create our own PMS, short of PMS also. But this is for the last part of the session. So next thing to explain is, okay, we have the information from the hotel management, but maybe we can have also some, for example, Doorlock systems, for example, from VingCard. We have 3 native drivers, VingCard, I will show you, VingCard, for example, Salto and Kaba. This is one of that. Okay, this is the explanation. Imagine that we have door locks, and this is very important for you to understand. Okay, we have door locks, and we want to interact with the information of the door locks, with the events that the door lock system is informing about. I want to interact with the room again to know if somebody is entering. I want to know if it's the guest, or if it's the cleaning responsible, or if it's the maintenance responsible. So I want to know which is the profile that is entering the room, so I can interact with the scenarios. So if it's the cleaning person, I will not start the HVAC systems, only lighting, and I will turn on all the lights because it's faster to clean the room when all the lights are on, and the person is has to do nothing about lights, because just entering, everything is on and just clean, and when you leave, everything is going off again automatically. So this is the way that or the information I am interested to get from the door lock systems. But imagine think as you, or we normally think as an integrator. If you have a Zigbee door lock and some KNX devices inside one room, normally we think that we may need some Zigbee to KNX gateway. So this way of thinking is not correct in this case. We do not need any gateway between Zigbee and KNX. And why? Because the architecture is what you see here. All the door lock systems has internal hubs, IP hubs, Zigbee IP hubs, that is provided in this case by VingCard from ASA Abloy. This is one example, and this is connected through the IP network to the Vision Line, the VingCard Vision Line software. That is a software that is connected with the events with our VMS platform. Okay, so we do not need, for my 500 rooms, I will not need any gateway between Zigbee and KNX or BACnet or Modbus. No, because this integration is done in the top of that pyramids. So our VMS is in the top of the system pyramid, system installations, and the Vision Line software is in the top of the door lock system pyramid. I hope you know what I mean. So from top to top, they are talking about and they are interacting, because if you receive some event from these Doorlock systems, we will have this event. It will inform the BMS, and the BMS will give the order to a specific room to do whatever change in the scenarios, in the lighting, and in the HVAC systems or whatever. So this is the reality, and it's much more reliable and with this architecture. And it's very simple for us because we just need to have the module installed. We have done it before, and get this VingCard module, for example. The driver configuration is to get again a IP for the server. That's okay. And then again, VingCard room definitions, and as you can see, is very easy because we only need room numbers. Okay, I have a file for this, so I will save some time if I get the file. I have some files, so I have my VingCard room definitions here, so I just open and I get it much easier than. I will not include the floor again because I want to simplify this. Only with the room number I have all the information, so I don't need to include more information that is maybe giving me more complications. So I just save and restart. So I will get information also from the Doorlock system. So it's fantastic because you get information for who is entering the room, so you can interact, what is happening with the door, if it's open, if it's closed, if it's totally closed from the inside. So it's this also can be a do not disturb order. So you can do a lot of things with this information and interact with the room and inform the hotel owner and the hotel manager that it's the most important thing, because it's your customers, and the decision to use these systems and to pay this for you is important. So we have to convince them. So what do we have when we start? We see start again the BMS is all this information in the item 3 again. So there are 3 different native drivers for Doorlock systems. One is VingCard, okay. Another one is Salto, and another one is Kaba. So I will show you all of them. It's nonsense. In the same project, you will not have the 3. You will only have 1. But I will show you the differences. So I have VingCard here, for example, my vision line with my different rooms. And I have 5 things every room, 5 data points. An event number, a registration, main guest room, suite rooms, user group. Okay, so it's normally the only thing. It's restarting and something is hiding the. I have to wait a bit. So okay, now it's stable. VingCard. So the event number is the interesting for me, because if it's a different value, in fact, something is explained about this. I think, yeah, in the knowledge base. That's fantastic. Event number 0 is the guest entrance. 1 is a staff entrance. 2 is because inside it's open. 3 is the deadbolt is thrown. And 4, the deadbolt is released. And 5, the door is closed. So it's fantastic, because with these 6 values, you can do whatever scenario you may need. So it's interesting. So only with one of the items, that's very good. The other items are for different complementary things, I guess. So this is for VingCard, for Doorlock. So as you can see, we can use these items for anything, because as the rest of the items you have in the item 3, you can visualize it, you can use it for logics, you can use it for alarming, for trending, for scheduling, whatever. So this is very, very interesting. Conditional events or whatever. So it's very easy, and we will not need at the end a lot of Lua scripting, a lot of complex things because we have it in an easy way with the web manager, for example, and the conditional events, for example, is very easy to handle all these situations. So it's fantastic. Any kind of integrator can do very complex things and surprise the customers with the same tool. And it's a good idea to have only one solution for all your projects. So this is a winning situation. If you always use NetEx automation, you will only need to know one tool to do everything. So it's fantastic for everybody. So more modules. Okay, we have also Kaba. Kaba or Saflock driver configuration is not necessary because it's nothing, it's just a port. But we need also in Kaba to define devices. Devices is, if you imagine that our doors are and you put here that or wherever. So I also have a file, so I will take it, Kaba, releasing the floor number because it's not necessary. This is another solution with another software in the top that is connecting to our PMS platform. So just a few seconds to restart the server, and we will see the result. In the case of VingCard, we have 5 data points per door lock. In the case of Kaba, I think we have more, up to 10, I think. But from the license point of view, you will spend only 5 data points per room. So you have to count, if you need a Kaba or Salto or VingCard driver or module, you will have to pay the price of a module. This is always a fixed amount. It doesn't mind the number of the rooms, but you will have to account 5 data points per room. So you have a hotel with 200 rooms. You need to consider that for using this module, you will need 1,000 extra data points. So this is a variable cost of that module, but it's easy to calculate. So it's also fantastic to know from the beginning, more or less, the estimation of data points you may need in these cases. So we should have here our Kaba, yes, and the rooms, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 items per room. So, but this is only read-only values. If you don't have behind the software from Saflock, from Kaba, or the vision line from VingCard, is not possible to use. And the last one is a third door lock solution is Salto. Salto is a Spanish company, in fact, but it is very well known worldwide. So there is a lot of Salto solutions in the world, in hotels and many others. So it's also a native driver for NetEx. I'm not guilty for that because it was decided some time ago, but it's fantastic to have this driver from this company in our portfolio. So I will not need any path. It's not necessary. I'm saving and restarting. And in this case, VingCard was 5 data points. In the case of Kaba was 10, and here we will have up to 15 data points. So you can also find in the knowledge base, if you want to go for Salto, for example, Salto integration, and you will see the same the same architecture. It's exactly the same. It's very, very similar, because it's the same idea, IP, and then specific configuration, and then what is happening with your items, operation ID, description of the operation ID. So you have a much more complex system than the others. There is a lot of different possibilities, so it's very, very interesting. So this kind of solutions can give you a lot of functionality and added value for your projects. So let's wait again to the restart of the PMS, and then we can finish this explanation about these drivers that are not that are very interesting, and you cannot avoid to use. Sometimes it's giving you a lot of functionality and a lot of integration with other systems. And integration, as you can imagine, is not just integrating lights with HVAC systems or with metering. Integration is a bit more complex thing, but complex is not the word for us, because we have the PMS and we can do it in an easy way. So it's not complex for us. We can say that it's sophisticated. And this is a different word, but it is a good notation for this, because it's not complex for us, it's sophisticated. So we can do it spending not so many time and getting a lot of functionality in the project with a small effort from our point of view as integrators. So this is, I think, the most interesting thing. Okay, we should see here my Salto driver with my rooms, and then you can see there is a lot of information from my rooms. Operation ID is the item we are using here, so you have the knowledge base to take a look on it, but it's fantastic. So Fidelio for the hotel management, and different solutions like VingCard, Salto, Kaba or Salto for Doorlock systems. And this was objective for this last session of today, but we also have to deal about what is the GRMS. So what I'm going to do is to show you what happens with the GRMS if I have my Fidelio driver inside, but it's not possible to show you as we like, because we don't have Fidelio driver behind. So I will show you, but then I will go back and delete this solution and create it manually with the GRMS. But the first approach is to explain you, if you have a Fidelio, how the GRMS app is working. And it's very easy. You just have to push the GRMS, okay, and go. We don't have any rooms defined, okay, but we go here for the configuration, and I can say, I would like to auto-generate the rooms. First is, if you have a default visualization project for your rooms, it will be interesting to comment it. I have one hotel room. I was creating that before, so it's I will deal about visualization in a next sessions. But I was starting, but I have one hotel room project, so I have it. It's on the way, but I can define it now. Okay, you can put a checkout text. Thank you for your visit. Hope to see you soon again. Polite from the hotel point of view. Okay, and this configuration is by default. You don't have to touch nothing. This is normally the ports that you are using for the web manager or the visualization with the IP of your computer, your server. Report also, well, we can create a report and we can change the logo and the background image. Okay, normally I don't touch this. The question is now this option, auto-generate rooms. It's possible because we have Fidelio. So if you say auto-generate rooms and I save, we will have a process where it's taking information from the hotel management system that we have already configured in the PMS. And if I go to the rooms, I should find here, maybe I have to restart the server, but okay, let me go here. Yeah, maybe I have to restart the server, but it's okay. So let's do it. Let's restart the server. Maybe it takes some time, but it should work, because only selecting that and saving, it should generate the rooms. And yes, it's real. We have to restart the server because it's going to appear a lot of new items in the item 3. So it's necessary. Okay, I now realize it's not just saving and see the result. It's necessary to create again the item 3. So it's important. So after restarting the server, we will enter again the web manager and see what happened with the room definition when you are using Fidelio. But for this example, as I mentioned before, we cannot interact with the GRMS. So we will show it to you. So you will see how easy it is to integrate Fidelio also with the GRMS to get information from the property management system. But for a real example, I will do it manually. And it's also interesting because not always you have in a hotel the PMS or you have money for this integration, or the hotel don't want to pay for the integration or whatever. So it's possible to get our own GRMS, so we can also have some information about check-in, check-out, and the best thing is that we can create a personalized visualization, for example, for the users. And for the hotel, from the hotel point of view, it can be also possible to include in the visualization automatically the name of the or the language of the guest. So it's interesting because the visualization says, "Hello, Mr. Diaz," for example, if it's my case. Welcome to your, or bienvenido a su habitación, that is in Spanish, because you know that I am Spanish and my language is Spanish. So it's automatically created from that. So after restarting the server, we can try to help restarting the server. I will show you how. Remember this. Okay, now it was a bit late. 25 days left. But if you have some troubles with the restarting of the server, you can try to force stopping and starting again with the BMS platform service control. So this is not the case because it's taking some time, but it's not the case that I need this forcing of that, because it will be working now. And with the latest version, it's working really nice. It's very fast. Things. So now it's again open. So we can take a look what happened. What do we have now? If we go to module, you go to GRMS, now we find Netex Hotel and we find our rooms and we have this information. Check it in, visualization project name, hotel room, language, guest name, but it's not possible to interact. We cannot change these values because it seems that there are other system that is going to give us this information. But you get all this information here, and you get in the web manager automatically the rooms have been created. So it's what I wanted to show before, but we need to restart the server. So if I go now to the GRMS, as you may remember, I only press this option, auto generate rooms, and as a result, after restarting, is that I have a new folder that was not present before with exactly the same rooms and the status of the room, a description, but I cannot press this button for check-in, for example, because it should be automatically done with the Fidelio. So this is the explanation for this. So the GRMS is creating this one. The first thing is you have all this information. So if you get information from the name and nationality and language of the of the guest, you will have it here. Name, Mr. Julio Diaz is my name, and nationality, Español, Spanish, or whatever. So language, ES, for example. And this is going to interact or to affect your visualization language, for example, as we will show you in the future. This is the first thing. But of course, will be one visualization for each room. Specifically, your room will have a specific visualization. So you will find this in another module. The visualization management will show this for us. I have the hotel room now. This is my project, visualization project, one project for the whole rooms. So if you have 500 rooms, it's not a problem. You have one project. You only have to do it once, with 8 devices connected to this project, because this has been done automatically by the GRMS system. This is the first thing. And you have clients connections to the visualization for each room, for the first room, the second room, the third room, the fourth room. So there is connections, individual connections for each room. Okay, this is from this point of view. And in the groups you can assign from the configuration point of view, and this is the part that we will explain. We can also, it's possible to use these different variables. Well, this is the most complex thing to explain, because it's not magic, it's science, but we can change this number of the room using workspace variable. We can change the language of the visualization using variables, so it will get values from this. But now we cannot see the values because we are using the Fidelio, so we are not having this information because Fidelio is not present in my computer. But you can have the room name, the guest name, the language, and there will be values that you can use here in the visualization, of course, as a global variable, as a workspace variable. So this is fantastic because you can relate everything, your lights, your shutters, only changing the number of the room, and everything will change using the same single visualization for your 500 rooms. So it is really interesting. But this is just the first approach for this GRMS. Okay. Another thing that has changed is that we have different users. As you can see here, you have from the beginning we only have admin, and as I am a super admin, automatically I have access to all the visualizations. It's not a problem for me. As a user, I create a user myself with no permission. So except if you give permissions, you will have no permissions to access any. But the GRMS is going to do this. Look, this is the user, okay, and this is the visualization, okay. It's the same name, but every user has access only to its room, and this is automatically created by the module. The system is creating these relationships, is creating the users, is creating the clients, the connections, and is linking this to the visualization, the only single one visualization for the whole 500 or 2,000 rooms at your hotel. So this will be fantastic because it's only a few work to do all this. But the problem, or the circumstance is that we are with Fidelio. So as I don't have this Fidelio, it's a pity, but this is not going to work. So I cannot interact. So the second and last example of today, and we will finish this example with the visualization at the end of the sessions. The second example of today is, okay, we can create our own rooms. Let's do it manually. So I will do different changes. Okay, I will deactivate this auto generation of the rooms. I will restart the server. I'm not sure if it's going to disappear, but I will restart the server. If it's not disappearing, I will hide the Fidelio rooms. I will convert to comment the Fidelio rooms because I want to show you from the scratch how to do this if you don't have a property management system, a Fidelio, for example, in your hotel, to do it manually. So just let me restart the server one more time. 2 millions today, I think. But then we can do it from the beginning, and I explain again everything what is happening when you use the GRMS. You will have automatically creation of connections to the visualization, one per room, one user per room, automatically created, linked automatically this user with the specific visualization. So, and the most interesting thing is for the user point of view is that a QR code is the only thing he needs or she needs to access the visualization. So it's really, really interesting because it's very easy. You just print out a paper as a hotel receptionist, print out a paper. Please take this QR code so you will do your visualization automatically. So let's take a look if we have or not the GRMS module. Yes, we still have it. So, okay, what I'm going to do is two things. Go to Fidelio, Opera, and put all these rooms to sleep, up, or delete it. Okay, I doesn't mind. I will not reinitialize now. Go to the web manager. And go to the web manager and delete these rooms. I'm not interested in these rooms, so I do it here in the configuration. This is not real because I don't have Fidelio now. Okay. Okay, it's not configured. And then I just have to restart the server again. And now it should disappear, so we can start from the beginning to create our rooms and show you how is the procedure for the receptionist, for example, to create a check-in, check-out, put the name, and so on. So again, restarting the server for the last time, I hope. No, it's not always, never is the last time. But it's important to explain you this possibility because it's a normal case, and this is also interesting for you to understand how interesting is the module for your projects, hotel projects. Moreover. Okay, just to check if the item tree appears, I will close the Fidelio. That I have not in the module branch, no GRMS information. Nothing. Okay, it's okay. It's nothing here. Okay, because I have to do it now from the scratch. So let's do it again. Let me turn off the lights because I have it. Some lights are on. I have the alarms working, and it's good that they work, but I don't want. Okay, so here we are. So what to do? GRMS. I would need to create rooms for my hotel. So I have to do it here. Okay. I can just add hotel room. It's possible. Nothing more than put here name. So we can We can create a room, just put the name. It's not necessary to include items here because the items is, if you have items from other systems that is giving you the information, you just put it here. If you don't have Fidelio or other systems, you don't need to put here anything. No, not necessary. Okay, so you can put it in no items. So you can create your 8 rooms here, but I'm not going to do it because we have also the possibility to create a template for the rooms. So we can create a template for hotel rooms. So this is also good if you have to create 2000 rooms, it's faster here. So name of the template room or rooms, a path extension. Okay, hotel. Name of the room, and our well-known variables, the floor and the room number, okay, and nothing more, no items to check, to select. If you want to select the hotel room visualization, it's okay, because you will save to do it one by one. And I just save. Okay, I have 2 variables here. I have my template. So now it's very easy to come here again and go to the GRMS. And if you want to create a lot of rooms, no problem. You have template to do so. Come here, select the apply template icon. And it's the rooms one that I need. And I have floor and room. I think I have a file for doing so. It's the temperature one, I think, but it's just because I'm lazy today. So temperature of the rooms has the same values, floors and rooms. So I'm saving time because I have a good memory, lazy boy. But it's same. So I have just given that value. So I have 8 hotel rooms created. So I have it, my hotel, my rooms. Okay. And my rooms without any item. That's fantastic. So then let me come here and then I show you how this works. So this is my hotel. I am the receptionist and I have my hotel. The room is now vacant, is not occupied, but myself, I am the guest and I'm arriving the hotel. So the reception manager just have to do this check-in. And which is the name of the guest? The name is Julio Diaz and language is ES, for example. I do check-in. Now the status is occupied and you get a QR code. Click to print is to give the customer a PDF with this. So it can be printed out. So you can take this as a PDF. So this is the room booked by Julio Diaz and the date of 14th. This is automatically created. So you can print it out and give it to your customer. And the customer just have to take a picture of this and will be conducted to the visualization. Okay, this will be explained in a different. Let me say that my colleague Stefan, for example, is a guest in the second room, for example, or my friend Subanka, for example. Let me say English. It's in the third. We are in a business meeting. So what is happening with this? This is manually done. We don't have any configuration to do, just to define the rooms. But on the background, you will see that we have our rooms created and we have our items with values. So this is very interesting. The room number 10104 It's nothing, nothing is inside this. And this is the items. And the items are interactive. We can write with logics of whatever thing, with a calendar, for example. We can create a calendar for every room, and you can change that value. Imagine that I am checked out, false. So I am out of the room. So I will get not opportunity to interact with my room, with my smartphone, because I am checked out. And this is, as a result, we get this information, of course, in my room. Now it's vacant again. So we can change now the name of the, from the PMS. I can change, sorry. Okay, I can just set this to true, and I will be asked in the web manager the name. For example, let me say that my colleague Bernard, I hope I have write it well, Bernard, is now in that room, but it's a different guy that is now in the room. Okay, so I have no permission, but he has the permission. And the QR code is different, of course. It's automatically generated with a different code. So this is what we get in this GRMS solution. And as I mentioned before, we have, of course, outside of this, because this is just the configuration of the GRMS. So you have just this configuration, nothing, because we have no predefined items to work with the rooms, nothing. It's totally very easy to do because you have to do nothing. You just have maybe to don't select how to generate room because we don't have Fidelio, so it's not going to work. Maybe you can change the logo or the background image of the visualization or whatever. So it's not created. And here, what we get is this is hotel and room 0101. Users with the profile of the users is, for the visualization, is a manager. So the user is not able to change important things because the users are managers only, not super admins or whatever. Okay. And the assignment for the visualization point of view is given as you saw before. The assignment for the visualization point of view is given one by one. So this has access to the first, to the second, and this to the fourth, etc. So, and as you can see here, these are active and the others are not, because they are not, have not permissions. One interesting thing we can do here, and we will explain in the future, is to limit the number of connection, because we have a limit. Imagine that you have a hotel with 100 rooms, and you have this possibility to give a specific visualization to one customer, but there is a limit in the license. Maybe you have 100 visualizations simultaneous, or maybe you will need a bit more, because you can also limit the number of connections. Imagine this is a single room, so there is only one person in this room, but the room 0102 is a double room, so maybe maximum number of people that can go inside this room is 2. Maybe this is a family room, so maybe it can be up to 4 people. Imagine that it's a father, mother, and two children with tablets or whatever. So you give access to the whole number of participants. The addition of all this should be the number of connections you may need for your project. So maybe you have 100 rooms, but you may need 250 connections. So this is a question to consider in the definition of the project also. because you can limit. Of course, there is a room that is no limitation because it's the presidential suite, so it's no limit. So it can be 30 people connected, no problem. It's your decision or the hotel decision, but it's possible to configure also here the maximum number of people that can access to the installation, to the visualization. So if it's a single room, it makes sense that it's only one person. If it's a double room, up to 2 person. Maybe only one is going to use it, but you have to give permission to all of them. Okay, so this is also possible to configure here, but this is going to be explained more in detail in the future. So in the sessions dedicated to the visualization. So we have finished on time. That's perfect. So I will say you goodbye until tomorrow. Thank you very much. This is what we wanted to explain. So I hope you have enjoyed these sessions also. And tomorrow we will see a bit more complex things or sophisticated, let's say, about the logics, about the reporting, how to trigger some reports and send. So a bit more interesting things, also logics, X logics, so we can create that X logic, including values and all these things. And starting also with some special features like the cloud portal or the main backup configuration or the cluster configuration, all these things. So it would be also an interesting thing. If we finish with some extra time, we can start dealing about the visualization, because visualization is a lot of things to do. So tomorrow maybe we will get we will give you some previous information about the visualization. So thanks so much, and see you tomorrow if you want to come back. Bye.